The group was growing really, really rapidly. First off, you're getting tons of free leads from Facebook, right? I had earned about 45,000 in affiliate commissions in 90 days from starting. You need to come from a place of what's called HILA, high intention of service, low attachment to outcome. The Facebook group is a living, breathing, three-dimensional, in vivo email list that you can actually have interactions with. So you should be capturing that email address as they come in.
Hello, Alex. Welcome to the summit. Alex is an affiliate marketer who only entered the affiliate market scene about 1 year ago with the one funnel away challenge. Since then, she took Stephen Larson's advice to publish daily, and during this time, she grew her Facebook group to more than 3,000 members. She's been featured on Tony Robbins' Knowledge Business Blueprint Lounge, and we just had an amazing pre-chat, and she already got me really excited about using Facebook groups, properly even for this summit. So if you're seeing anything about a Facebook group, it's probably due to Alex's influence on me. So hello, Alex, welcome.
Hi, how's it going, Martin? It's great to meet you and great to be here. Thank you.
It's awesome. And can you tell us a little bit, like, it seems like you had some really huge success in a small time period. Like when did you decide to really focus to become a Facebook group expert?
Honestly, so like you said, it was actually a little bit less than a year ago I got started, fell into the ClickFunnels affiliate marketing world back at the end of February, and now we're end of September. Fell into that world, got into the One Funnel Away challenge, got a really nice marketing structure around some of the ideas that I had for affiliate offers, and just started throwing spaghetti at the wall. Just see what works, figure it out. I was really impacted by Stephen Larson's admonition, published daily. I was like, all right, man, I'll do it. And what my first question was, okay, where do I go? Do I go on Medium? Do I go on YouTube? Like, what's my platform? And so what I did is I started to funnel hack all of the successful affiliate marketers in my space. I was like, all right, who are the people that already have the attention of my audience? Who are they? What are they doing? I made a little Excel sheet. You'd be so proud of me. I did this whole competitive analysis, and I realized really quickly, I was like, wow, they all have Facebook groups. They all have created these amazing, vibrant, engaged, warm audiences. And these guys are like serving their faces off and then monetizing. So I joined their groups, and I just started to watch what was happening. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, I don't have to be reliant on paid traffic, because up until that point I figured, okay, I'm going to have to buy Facebook ads, buy YouTube ads, buy solo ads. Like, I just wasn't sure how to do it. Then when I realized the power of an organic, warm audience inside of this structure of a Facebook group, really creating a community, I was like, that's what I want to do. So decided to create my group, started going live every day, started learning about attraction marketing outside of the group to pull people into my world, to pull people into my group. And this was, again, I really started getting my stride with this spring of this year into summer. At that point, I started to have a lot of success. The group was growing really rapidly. I had earned about 45,000 in affiliate commissions in 90 days from starting. And so people were starting to take notice, and they were like, what are you doing with your group? And I was like, I don't know, but it's working. I was just, like I said, throwing a lot of spaghetti at the wall, modeling what worked. So I was just really attentive to what other people were doing that were successful. And I'm like, oh, I'll try that. Okay, I'll try that. I'll do that. But I hadn't really formalized my knowledge. And when I got enough people saying, I started to run ask campaigns like, hey, so given what we're talking about here, like, how can I serve you? What do you want to know? And the overwhelming response was, teach us about how you're growing your Facebook group and monetizing it and the whole thing. And I was like, I better go formalize my knowledge on that subject. Okay, I'll be right back. I went and I took a whole boatload of courses on Facebook group growth. I actually got myself a mentor who is very successful in the Facebook group growth space and monetization particularly, and just did the hard work of really learning, formalizing my knowledge, putting a structure around everything. And it was funny because I was like, oh, I'm doing that thing. I just didn't know what it was called. Like, I had no idea because I'd been modeling. So I learned the names for the stuff I was already doing, which was cool. And was able to then, as I formalized that knowledge, begin implementing like crazy. Like, I wanted to test all this stuff. So I just started testing and doing and growing and tweaking and seeing if I could make it better, seeing what times of day were the best for me to post, and reading my group analytics. And I just got really geeky about the whole thing and got pretty obsessed. and just started to crack the code on engagement, crack the code on attraction marketing and group growth and all these different things. And I decided, all right, it's time to share this knowledge. And so decided to put together a challenge, and we'll talk about that later, but that's been the trajectory. It's been really exciting over the last 7 months or so.
It's amazing to hear about your journey and what you did, because I'm doing the same here, modeling what works. Doing a summit, I'm modeling what ClickFunnels did about 1 year ago, and a lot of the people I talked to during the summit also recommend, like, really learn and model what works, and and then you got focused. But my question here is, and this is a behind the scenes interview, who should really use Facebook groups? Like, for what businesses does this work, and who would you recommend? I know, of course, for ClickFunnels and affiliate marketing, it's definitely a tool people should use, but what other businesses might this be valuable?
So in essence, we have people from all walks of life, all business types. We have local businesses who are just trying to grow their local lead pool, basically. We have coaches, authors, consultants, digital marketing agencies, info product creators, like course creators. We have affiliate marketers. We have network marketers. It just runs the gamut of the application. And the way I look at it is this. Russell Brunson says, anybody who needs leads or sales needs a funnel. I would argue that anybody who needs leads or sales or a warm audience needs a Facebook group, right? Because we always hear that the money's in the list, right? You got to have an email list, the money's in the list. And I do not dispute that whatsoever. What I would say is a Facebook group is a living, breathing, three-dimensional, in vivo email list that you can actually have interactions with via Facebook Live. And you can talk about being able to take the pulse of your people, right? Being able to serve your people, connect with them, have this intimate relationship built with them. You want to build know and trust factor. There's hardly a better way to do it than a Facebook group, leveraging the power of Facebook Lives. For me, obviously, when people come into my Facebook group, I collect the lead, right? So I'm owning the list. I get that. That's my opt-in, right? I look at my Facebook group as a high converting sales funnel. That's what it is for me. So they come in, they give me their email address in exchange for a lead magnet. Cool. That's my opt-in page. Now they're top of funnel. I'm going to love them up. I'm going to serve them. I'm going to engage them. I'm going to make them feel like this is the place they always wanted to call home, and they identify with being here. And then I'm going to make them offers. And now that we've gone through that know and trust process, and they get me, they feel me, they know that I'm standing for them and invested in them, the ascension of the relationship when you do ask for the sale is so simple and so easy.
Compared to other marketing methods out there, like, how much time do you think should somebody spend, like, if he plans to run a Facebook group? Because I think there's not much value if you have a Facebook group, you have members there, but you're not spending any time there engaging with your audience.
I'm not going to sugarcoat this at all. In the beginning, to gain traction and momentum, you will have to spend some time. That's just the nature of the beast. The work when it comes to a Facebook group is what I like to call front loaded. It's like the work when you're building a funnel, front loaded, right? You got to build it, and it's a lot of work. You got to do the integrations. You got to write the copy. You got to film the videos. You got to do all the stuff. Front loaded work. Once it's done, it's really easy to maintain, like, with very little interference. And so it's the same thing with a Facebook group. There's work to set it up properly, to architect it the right way from the beginning. There's work spent serving your people, earning the right to the sale, engaging them, building a community where you don't even have to check in for a day or two, and it's still as engaged as a cafeteria food fight, like in a good way. So it takes work to get there, but is it worth it? Absolutely. Because then you own this asset that literally is making you money frequently on autopilot because of all my affiliate links inside of it, as well as when I choose to go live and serve them on a topic and then make a call to action, make a couple $1,000s just like that. Similar to sending out an email blast to your list with making an offer. Same kind of thing, but it's a little more in vivo. It's a little more, we're not all sitting around staring at our inbox all the time. But we do have the Facebook app open, and when somebody we follow goes live, we get that live note, oh, okay, there we are. It's literally just commanding the attention of your audience like that. It's very powerful. I think that you got to be aware that there will be some front-loaded work, and I don't ever want to sugarcoat that process. It does take some time.
Can you give us some rough numbers, how much time people spend, like, from your students to set this up?
So in the challenge we're running right now, I'm recommending people spend 1 to 2 hours a day working on their group. 1 to 2 hours a day. I think most people can probably carve that out of their schedules or life or whatever. Listen, if you have more time, you'll get results faster. That's it. If you have more time, you'll get results faster. If you are a working professional entrepreneur, et cetera, who is wanting to add on a Facebook group to what you're already doing, an hour or 2 hours a day of focused contribution to your group will help you grow in a manner that is healthy, and you'll be able to get there as quickly as you can given those time constraints. My situation was a little bit unique, and I'll speak to that. In February, when I decided to go with this, I went all in full time. So I won't say that my situation is going to be the same as everybody else's, right? So I just decided to do this full time. But I know, for example, one of my students, Melissa Ricker, she only did her Facebook group 4 hours a day. And she has had a similar growth trajectory. Time input doesn't always equal more exponential results. You can still get a lot done 4 hours a day or 2 hours a day.
What are the most important activities that you do to grow your Facebook group?
Woo! Are these the most important activities that you do? So there are a boatload of them, and I don't know how much time we have, but
so the 4% of the 4%, I think that's also something we will talk about later.
We will talk about that. In essence, you really need to take some time in architecting your group properly. I see a lot of people, it's so easy to go on Facebook and hit the create a group button and then think you have a group that should make money. Like there's a lot of thought that goes into how you're going to name your group, how you're going to position your group, who you're going to serve. You need to like these people, right? Because you're going to be spending time with them. You're going to be engaging with them, interacting with them. If you're just in it for the money and you really haven't asked yourself the question, who do I just love to hang out with? Who do I just love to serve and spend time with? You're going to start to look at your group as like a burden instead of a get to, right? You're going to look at it as a have to instead of a get to. I look at my group as a get to. I love these people that are in there. This is this wonderful curated group of human beings who are like on the same wavelength as me. We just go in there and jam and have a good time, right? And it's this curated community, as it were, because I get to choose who I let in the door. And then if anybody acts up, I kick them out. So it's this wonderful, like gated community of awesome human beings that you get to spend time with. So you want to really select those people up front. Ask yourself the question. I learned these questions from Andrew Cruzy. It was, who can I impact the most, or who can I benefit the most with my material? Who do I enjoy working with the most? And who can pay me the most money? And where those three questions intersect, those are the people you want to serve. Those are the people you want in your Facebook group. Those are the people you want to hang out with, right? That's that. So I think that's a really important question to answer from the get-go. And I think a lot of people don't answer that question. They're like, I just want to be an affiliate marketer. I want to sell this. Okay. But we need to turn this question on its head and say, who are your people first? And what are their needs? What are their pain points? What are their desires? When you can answer those questions, then you can go plug in products that make sense. Don't come at it from I want to sell this product. Come at it from I want to serve these people because I just dig them and I enjoy them. And I see some opportunities to serve them at a high level and also monetize that relationship. So I think that's really important. I think it's important to learn the art of attraction marketing, right? Because just because you build a group doesn't mean anybody's going to come, right? Those days are over. So you need to learn how to attract outside of your group. You need to learn the art of engagement. It's actually art and a science. You really need to understand what it is to engineer engagement, and it is a formula and you can engineer it. So I think that's super important. And I think it's important to understand that if you want to make money from your group, you do need to earn the right to that sale. You can't just be like link barfing all over people or whatever. You need to really serve them, build that trust, then you can monetize. So I think those are some of the bigger points that are important to understand.
I love that. And one question that I have personally, I prefer to having one-to-one conversations like we have here right now. So where do you draw the line when to act with somebody personally, like maybe in the Facebook chat or just hopping on the personal face-to-face meeting, and which conversations do you take to one-to-many from you to the group?
That's such an interesting question. And it's not really a question I've thought about much, but I like it. So here's what I do. So basically, sketch out a content calendar for myself inside of my group based on, I leverage the screening questions when people come in. I want to know, what are you struggling with most? What's the thing that's in your way that's preventing you from moving forward to success? Because those are the things I'm going to teach on. Those are the roadblocks I'm trying to remove for them, right? Because those are the most impactful pieces of knowledge or implementation or whatever it is that they need to move forward. So that's number one. So I'm going to be creating content around their biggest needs, which helps them move forward, and it builds trust and it builds goodwill and all that stuff. So I have a content calendar, and I'll do either a training or I'll bring in a subject matter expert. If somebody said something like, I need help with LinkedIn, I don't know the first thing. I don't even have a LinkedIn account. Like I have no idea. So I would have to bring somebody in and have them either do a training or we just have an interview and we just go back and forth and learn stuff that way. It's either going to be a tutorial style training type thing or an interview or bringing in a subject matter expert, that kind of stuff. Now, when I make a call to action and say, hey, if this training has been valuable for you and you're interested in getting further coaching on this subject, or you're interested in booking a strategy call with me or whatever, then that's something I would take offline, right? And take to a one-to-one. But I don't personally, it's not my business model to spend a lot of time doing one-on-ones offline. I like the one-to-many model. It's just the model that has worked for me. It's the one that I'm pursuing. Obviously, if it's a monetized conversation, I'm down. If it's just, they just want to pick my brain, it doesn't fit with my model right now.
And I think that's also something we have to keep in mind. Like, what's the value we're bringing to this conversation? For example, like you get exposure on this summit, I get, or all of us get amazing content.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's always like a value exchange, and this has to match. And obviously, money is like a pretty easy measurement of value, but
right.
You can also get creative. And
absolutely, exposure is a huge measurement of value, right? Association with us with an amazing summit, getting great implementable strategies, like all this stuff is a value exchange. So you're absolutely right.
What's the difference? I see a lot of people putting out online courses and building a community, which is for people who paid for something, where there's a free community. And do you recommend to have both, or like just start with one and then add the other, or just have one group?
Here's the deal. It depends where you are on your journey. So if you are an absolute beginner, like you just woke up this morning or yesterday morning and you're like, I want to make money online, right? So if you're just a dead beginner, Steve Larson talks a lot about this. Steve Larson of ClickFunnels fame. He talks a lot about this, and he says, build your audience first and then co-create your product with your audience, right? Via an ask campaign. Ask them what they need to learn. Ask them what they're hungry for, and then feed them. So if you're just starting out, building your audience first around a topic is a really brilliant way to do it. And it's what I actually did. That was the model I followed, was build an audience, serve them. So I was learning in the OFA, and I would, in the One Funnel Away Challenge, I would get the lesson in the morning, I'd implement, and then that night I would go live in my group and I'd be like, okay, so today's lesson, this is what I learned from Julie and from Steven and from Russell. This is how I implemented in my business, right? Here's an example. Now let's talk about how you guys can implement in your business. And we'd go do back and forth about how they could take this lesson and implement it. So I was taking information that a lot of these people were all in the OFA too. So we were all learning the same information, but I was filtering it through the lens of me, filtering it through the lens of my own implementation in my business to give them like an anchor of how they could use it, and then workshopping with them on how they could use it in their business. They were getting a value add. They were getting value. They were getting somebody one-on-one working with them, that kind of thing. And I didn't at the time have any products to sell other than affiliate stuff. If we talked about during that day, if we talked about Expert Secrets, I'd be like, hey guys, if you have not purchased Expert Secrets, go get this book right now. Here's my affiliate link. On the parts that we were talking about, crafting your story, I'd be like, funnel scripts is amazing. If you don't have, I do a tutorial on funnel scripts. If you don't have funnel scripts, here's an affiliate link. So that was how I monetized, but I earned the right to the sale through service. Now, obviously, I have my own product and I can monetize that way. But personally, I think building an audience before you have an actual product is a glorious way to do it, because then you build the product to the specifications of your clients and your customers, right? If you obviously already have a product or whatever, then you need to be building an audience yesterday. Let's do this, right? Because you don't want to ever get in a situation, and I know a lot of people who've gotten into the situation, they will go through something like One Funnel Away challenge, or just spend 6-7 months or a year or 2 years building this product in a silo and in silence. And then they want to launch, but it's okay, who do I launch to? Right? And you end up launching to crickets because you were building in a silo. You weren't actually listening and engaging and connecting with your audience. So
that definitely happened to me with my software. Like I built this amazing software and I even got a few customers, and they said it was amazing, but after that it was like, what do I next?
What
And I
do
was
I
like,
do?
in the pre-talk, you also talked about like your journey did not just start with the One Funnel Away challenge. Like what were your conditions when you started? Like how much money have you had? What was your job? Can you give us some background on this?
I can. It was pretty ugly, honestly. In our pre-talk, I told you a lot of people know my story as if it starts 7 months ago with the One Funnel Away challenge. And in this space, it does. But before that, beyond that, I have been trying to get traction and make it online part-time, side gigging it for 14 years. I don't want people to get the idea that like, oh, she's just lucky. She had this like lucky break or whatever. Or no, I was an overnight success 14 years in the making like that. And there were 14 years of failures and multiple attempts and more failures. And I like to tell people, I'm like, I have probably failed laps around you, like literally failed laps around you. I'm just maybe too stubborn and too dumb to give up. And I just keep going. And I think that is frequently the differentiator between people who make it and people who don't. The people who make it, they just failed more and they kept going. And they would get up, dust themselves off, don't take it personally. What's the lesson? Learn it, go forward, keep going. Fall down again. Okay, cool. What's the lesson? Don't take it personally, keep going. And just don't stop. Dogged determination. So 14 years of attempting in different ways to make it online with varying degrees of success, but with a whole lot of shiny object syndrome. That was a big sabotage. It was just a huge sabotage to my ability to generate momentum and have success in any one thing. I ended up just being a dabbler for a long time, which was crippling. At the time I started the OFA, truthfully, I was not in a good place at all. My mom had recently had a pretty catastrophic accident. It was a big freak accident. She ended up crushed under this like massive built-in piece of furniture that like freakishly fell out of a wall. And it ended up crushing her underneath. And she's elderly. She's like 77 years old, broke multiple bones in her body, all this crush injury stuff. So I had been a nurse practitioner and a nurse in my previous career, was the only healthcare provider in the family, which meant I inherited taking care of mom completely. And for 7 months, my other half and I, we actually had to move in with my mom, completely 24/7, take care of her. It was a full-time job. We were taking her to therapy, taking her to doctor's office. It was intense. And previous to that, in my previous incarnation of working online and trying to make it, I'd had a digital marketing agency and it was just getting traction. It was just starting to make money and it was getting good. And when this accident happened, I went from I could grind it out for 12 hours a day, 7 days a week if I wanted to make this thing work. And I was. And this accident came and I went from having 12 hours a day, 7 days a week to maybe one if I was lucky. So it just didn't work. We just lost that business. And that was the main source of income at the time. So it got bleak. It got bleak financially for a while. And we got down in the beginning of February to about our last $1,000. And we looked at each other and my wife said, okay, I'm going to take care of your mom full time. You're going to figure this out. And I'm like, got it. So that was it. And I had to marshal the gift of desperation. I had to marshal the gift of desperation and I had to make it work for me. And it was a gift. It was absolutely a gift because I worked harder than I've ever worked in my whole life. I just hustled. I hustled like failure wasn't an option because it wasn't. It literally was not an option. Powerful.
Brent Bouchard talks also about necessity, and it was also the same for me. Like when I got a father, I married my wife, she already had kids, I was not able to provide for my family, like everything changed for me, and that's when I come up with this idea for the summit. So my question now, like with the knowledge and the success you have now, like what would you recommend your younger self, like while she was on this journey?
If I could go back to my younger self, I'd probably shake her pretty hard, smack her around a little and say, stop, just stop it. Stop not believing in yourself. Stop chasing every shiny object that comes your way. Nothing outside of you is going to save you. Stop looking for something external to save you. You are going to be able to save you. And how you're going to save you is this. You're going to learn how to pick one thing, pursue it ruthlessly, focus, become obsessed, go deep, learn everything you can on this thing, and then turn around and serve people with it, right? Get out of your head, get into your heart, and start serving. Get out of your own way. Stop doubting yourself. Stop jumping from one thing. There's 1,000 roads that lead to Rome. Just pick one and go. Pick one and go. That's it. But I always say this to my students. I'm like, you will get further going 20 steps in one direction and one step in 20, because everybody's doing the shiny object chicken dance and they're not pursuing that one path. So that's what I'd say to her. I'd really shake it into her.
Thank you for this fantastic first part of this interview. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot, and I'm really looking forward to the second part where we go into the step-by-step process of how to build a successful and profitable Facebook group. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Alex. Welcome back to the second part of this masterclass and this interview. And now will go down into the step-by-step process of how to grow our Facebook group and monetize it. So can you tell us a little bit what's the first thing we should do?
Absolutely. I think it's super, super important to leverage a concept that I actually learned from a Facebook ads expert, Nicholas Kuzmich. And he taught me that when you're thinking about what ends up happening is this. When you're thinking about who you want to serve, we frequently don't go deep enough. We frequently say, oh, I want to serve affiliate marketers. I want to serve small business owners. I want to serve moms, or whatever it is, whoever your target audience is. And we frequently just don't go deep enough to a place or a sub niche that really allows us to be a big fish in a small pond. Particularly if you're just starting out, it is vital that you get traction, and it is exceedingly difficult to get traction as a small fish in a big bloody red ocean. You really want to niche down enough that you're creating your own blue ocean, right? So I like to, and he calls this concept the 4% of the 4%. And what does that mean? So he asks you a question. He says, okay, who are the 4% of the population that you want to serve? Say, okay, I'm just going to make something up. Veterans. Cool. Who is the 4% of that 4% that you could serve at a really high level? And what does that mean? You can draw from your own personal identity, right? I could say, I want to serve female veterans because I have this bridge that can be built. Or I could say, I want to serve, let's pretend I was a wounded veteran. I could say, I want to serve wounded veterans. Or I want to serve Hispanic veteran, whatever. Put your identifier in there, put your niching down, whatever, and then go there and serve them to the very best of your ability. Create this amazing relationship, become the big fish in that small pond, and then you can leverage that big fish, small pond status to move into other ponds. But start here. People get so worried. Oh, but my information is good for all veterans. It's good for everybody. That's great. That's cool. They'll all benefit in time. But you've got to start where you can actually make the most impact. So I think leveraging the idea of the 4% of the 4% when we are creating a Facebook community, super important, because it allows us to actually stand out. It allows us to completely, very specifically call out our target audience, pluck them out and say, I am for you, right? And really in a big way allows them to identify with us pretty quickly and build a rabid tribe of hyper-targeted super fans quickly. So that's number one. Number two, I think people do not do this enough, and it is so important. You must understand that the Facebook algorithm functions like a giant search engine, right? So we all think of like Google and YouTube, they have SEO, et cetera, but Facebook has SEO too. And so people do not spend enough time. I see so many people, they'll create a Facebook group from their brand, from their product name or their company name. That's cool. But like, how many actual monthly searches are there out there in the world for your brand name? Unless you're Nike, Adidas, Coca-Cola, whoever, probably not that many. Just no ego here. It's just, it is what it is. There's probably not a lot of people searching for my name either. That's cool. That's why you leverage the power of keywords. So you really want to, and what are keywords? Keywords is just a way to get inside of your target audience's head. It's how are they self-identifying? What do they call themselves? Do they call themselves realtors or do they call themselves real estate agents? There's only one way to find out. Get a keyword search volume tool and find out which one's a heavier weight keyword,
is
right?
there a keyword research tool like for Facebook, or like which ones do you recommend?
So here's the deal. I tend to recommend tools that are free for people just because I want to make sure people to have the broadest access for anybody. So I use a tool, or I recommend a tool that's free called Keywords Everywhere Keyword Tool. And it's just a Chrome extension, free Chrome extension. I don't know how long it'll be free, but for now it's free. And you go to the Chrome web store, you download it. And basically anytime you search in Google, YouTube, wherever, it's not actually based on Facebook, but you can get a good sense if you run a YouTube because people aren't using absolutely novel language over on Facebook. They're using the same type of search terms on these similar platforms. So you'll just get a sense of how do people self-identify? How does my target audience actually self-identify, right? Are they calling themselves, to stick with the example before, are they calling themselves Hispanic veterans or are they calling themselves Latino veterans?
I think it makes so much sense if you say use a keyword tool, like even to just start a trial with something like Ahrefs or something, because you will get so deep insights. And even if you just start a trial for $7, which will last for 1 week, the last time I checked, you will get so much insights. And especially if you only choose the name for your Facebook group once, it makes sense.
Exactly. Then you can just cancel your trial and whatever. Yep. So you can start a trial, have your 7 days, get extremely rich data for your, so we're not just using keywords in our group name, which we're using keywords there, but we're also using keywords in our group description. You get 3,000 characters in your group description. If you do a lot of deep keyword research, you can use, if you want to use 20 keywords in there, just make them, don't keyword stuff it, don't make it look like a monkey wrote it, right? With keyword. If you can artfully craft those keywords into your description, that's really powerful. If you can then go and inside of your units section, use some of those keywords to architect your group, that's really powerful. You're signaling to the Facebook AI, hey, I am all about this subject right over here. And anytime anybody searches that in the search bar, your group is going to pop up, right? So you're really trying to engineer visibility from the beginning, leveraging SEO and keywords. And I don't think a lot of people do that. In fact, I know a lot of people don't do that because I'm constantly working to correct them on that.
I know that's super important to rank my blog posts like on Google, but I never consider like ranking my Facebook group, so to speak. And
Isn't that interesting?
I think that's a super valuable tip you just shared.
Yeah, cool. And the third one is really understanding the difference between serving your people and engaging your people, right? Because engagement is about conversation. Service is this unilateral thing that happens. And what do I mean by that? I have a lot of people who come to me and they say, I already have a Facebook group and I just don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm like posting all these amazing posts, takes me 30 minutes to write this long, glorious post, or I go live and I teach them and I serve them, and then it's crickets. Nobody engages with my stuff. What's wrong? And then I say, are you asking for engagement? And they're like, no. What does that mean? I'm like, okay, herein lies the problem. So service is this unilateral you giving to them. Engagement is the act of and the art of eliciting a response. And if you are not taking the initiative to elicit a response and do it frequently, to open up a conversation with your people and do it frequently, to train them You literally have to train them to engage with you. If you're not actively doing that, it will be crickets. It will. You set the tone. You set the tone. If you're just jumping on and staring at a camera and you forget that there's actually people on the other side of the camera that you're supposed to be having a conversation with, and you're just reading a script, and then you're like, okay, thanks, bye. No, of course nobody's going to engage, right? You didn't ask for it. You need to be asking for it. What do you guys think? It's Russell Brunson's trial closes, mini closes. What do you guys think? You guys picking up what I'm putting down? Tell me how you're going to implement this in your business. It's a constant confirmation. It's constant engagement, asking. So there's an art and a science to this.
So can you give us some simple, practical questions or things to get this conversation going and to get this engagement?
So I'll take the example of a Facebook Live. Super important. So when you first jump on a Facebook Live and you're doing it for your people, let's pretend you're going to do a little mini training or something like that. First things first, think about how I like to think about lives as people visiting me in my living room. That's literally, they're coming to my house and they're going to sit down, hang out with me in my living room. How would I treat them? When they come, would I completely ignore them and not acknowledge them, not call out their name? No. And I see so many people go live and they don't even acknowledge the people who are watching. You need to be like, hey, John's just joined us. Oh my God, John, it's been a while. It's so good to see you on this live again. Oh my gosh, hey, great. Oh, Teresa's here. Teresa, how's your dog? Last time I remember. These are people in your community. You need to be in relationship with them, right? Or, oh, Gabriel's joined us. Gabriel, I've never seen you on a live here before. Welcome, my friend. So good that you're here. I'm excited to meet you. These are your people. Engage them as if they were coming into your front door for a party, right? Ask them what they want to drink. Ask them what they want to eat. Connect, right? Like that kind of thing. Not literally. So acknowledgement, first and foremost. People love to be called out.
I think that's a huge mistake a lot of people make, especially like when they exposed to software like ClickFunnels or Kartra or something, or like even Facebook. They hide behind the technology and not acknowledge that there's another human being on the other side watching what you do, and he's gifting you his attention, which is precious, and we do not even acknowledge it. And a lot of people go into this with the mindset like, I want to make money, like. What for?
They want to make money, but they want to stay anonymous. And I got to tell you, the age of anonymity is over. People want vulnerability. They want transparency. They want authenticity. They want connection. It's so funny. We are more digitally connected than ever, and yet more spiritually disconnected than ever. And so when you show up fully transparent, Tim Ferriss says, you open the kimono and you show yourself and you give of yourself and you are unafraid and you do not hide. There is magic there. There is magic there, for real. And the acknowledgement is the first thing. Secondly, it's, hey, I want to know where everybody's tuning in from tonight, right? I know we have a global audience here. Everybody drop in. Where are you coming from? You've heard that on a webinar before, right? That's engagement. That's what we're trying to do. Same story. You want everybody to check in. Everybody check in. Hashtag your city. Let me know where you're from, whatever. If you're catching this on the live, give me a team live. If you're catching this on the replay, give me a team replay. Like, you just want to be asking for participation. That has to be top of mind all the time. You teach a concept. I'm going to stop right now. And I'm going to jump into the questions box and I'm going to ask you guys a question. Type in a question. I want everybody to answer this question for me before we move on. We are not moving on until we get some feedback here. I want to know, are you guys picking up what I'm putting down? Does this make sense? How could you leverage this in your business? How could you leverage this in your household if you're teaching parenting or whatever? So stop. Literally ask for engagement. Get them to engage. Read out their response. Okay, so Teresa says what she would do is, oh my God, Teresa, that's so smart. I actually hadn't even thought about that. What a good idea. Gabriel says, oh, Gabriel doesn't like this strategy. This is not going to work for him. Okay, that's cool, Gabriel. Hang around to the next one. You're going to love this. And keep, whatever anybody says, it doesn't matter. Acknowledge it, engage with it, keep asking for reciprocity and engagement. That's how you do it. You are having a conversation. Never forget that. And when people are engaged in a conversation, they don't tend to leave your live. If you're just sitting there spouting off information at them and you're not engaging with them, they're out the door. They've got more exciting things to do, right? But if you're actually having a back and forth, it's hard for them to go. Now they're like, oh crap, she's called out my name twice. I got to sit here. I got to be here. She knows I'm here. I can't leave. I don't want to disappoint her. Like, seriously though, that happens. So I think that's really important. And just, I always go back to like Expert Secrets, Russell Brunson's trial closes all the time. He's constantly trial closing, constantly be trial closing people, because what you're getting them to do is you're getting them to pay attention and continually nod their head, continually nod along. That actually makes monetization at the end a lot easier, right? Because people want to be congruent. They've been saying yes the whole time. Now all of a sudden you make an offer, feels wrong to say no. Right.
And there's also one thing that's not in the action step listed, but you talked about this to step into a leadership role. Can you say a little bit about this and elaborate?
I think that as a group owner, you are a de facto leader. That's just, you literally de facto, you're in that leadership role. And leaders can show up in different ways. I don't think that there's one way to lead. I think that some leaders have a lot of charisma, a lot of extroverted charisma. Other leaders they may be introverts, but they have a quiet gravitas, and they lead by example. They have a quiet charisma, as I would call it. They have maybe an intensity, and their voices may be lower, and they're not a dancing monkey, but man, they look at you in the camera and you cannot break their gaze. They're with you. They're standing for you. They are unafraid to be unflinching with you and connected, right? So you don't have to be a dancing monkey to stay connected with your people and stand for them and lead, right? So there's different ways to be captivating, as it were, on the camera, but it is important to be captivating. You have to understand, the way our people interact with us 85% of the time is inside this little black box. And they've got a bad case of scoliosis, and they're just scrolling, and they really couldn't give a crap about us. They don't care. They do not care about us. They care about a dopamine hit. That's all they're here for. So when you understand that, and when you first off just pattern interrupt, right? Hey, this is Alex Elliot. This is how I start every single one of my videos. Why? Not because I want to be a dancing monkey, but because I've got to get your attention. I have about a nanosecond to do it. So now that I've gotten your attention, I've got to hook you. I've got to make you fall in love with me. I've got to be animated to keep you, right? Otherwise, you're just going to continue on with your scoliosis, right? And I've lost you. I've lost my opportunity to serve you, to engage with you, and to monetize that relationship.
And I just want to add one word of caution, because I am the founder of Find Focus. I have all these books here where I learn like how this attention grabbing is designed, and how much time and efforts Facebook and YouTube and Google and all these companies spend into this. But a lot of the people I talk to, the successful business owners, they do not even have Facebook on their phone, or they block Facebook on their phone. And that's what my software is also about, to block Facebook during the time when you're working on your funnel, or you're writing your sales letter, or you're writing your content plan. And like, yeah, we as business owner, we have to grab people's attention, but we have to be really careful that we not let or protect our attention. And
Absolutely.
I have one other book from Perry Marshall, who will also be on the summit. And in this book, like he says, like as a Facebook ads guy, you want to get rid of your personal Facebook profile. Basically, your job is to grab people's attention. And there's a lot of people who try to be successful with Facebook's ads, but they are still like a slave to the machine. And I think that's so important.
You have to begin to think of yourself as a producer, not a consumer. Like I like to say to people, I'm a dopamine dealer. I'm not a dopamine consumer. So I like that. And that you have to break your addiction to mindless dopamine consumption via dopamine hits from Facebook or YouTube or whatever your social media platform du jour is. They are designed to addict you. They are designed to cripple you in terms of productivity. But if you want to get attention on these, you do have to provide that dopamine hit to your people. I literally am a dopamine producer. I am not a dopamine consumer. That is part of my identity. And you have to just break that for yourself.
So can you tell us a little bit about how the Facebook algorithm works, and like maybe in relation to Facebook groups, because that's something you also mentioned.
So with the last two updates, but particularly the last algorithm update that Facebook did, I believe it was in April, May, they have just, and you probably have noticed this, they've just done a massive push on groups. And actually, Mari Smith was at the latest ManyChat conference, and she was talking about how Facebook has basically come out and said, that groups, Facebook stories, and Facebook Messenger are their main primary focus for the foreseeable future. And particularly when you talk about groups, I don't know about you, but in my newsfeed has over the past several months gone from seeing my friends' posts to all I see are like group posts. I'm not even in the groups feed, which they created a separate groups feed. But in my regular newsfeed, it's all group posts. And frequently, it's not even group posts from groups I'm a part of. It's literally, I see posts from groups I've been invited to. So I haven't even accepted an invite, and I'm seeing posts from those groups in my newsfeed. That's insane. That didn't used to be the case. So Facebook is literally pushing groups down our throat, which is evidence of its focus on groups. It's created a group feed, which is evidence of its, focus on groups. It has now allowed expanded composition type stuff in groups. You can now put headers, and you can bold, and you can underline, and you can all kinds of cool things in a group post. You can't do that anywhere else on Facebook. You can't do it in a personal profile post. You can't do it on a business page. You can only make fancy type blog style posts inside of a group.
Where do I find this
functionality?
The functionality.
When you're typing, I can actually share my screen with you if you want to do a little tutorial.
Please go ahead.
We do? Cool. Let's do it. So let's go desktop. We'll jump into, I'm going to actually come over here because I can get into Facebook easier on Safari than I can Chrome. So we're going to go inside of my Facebook group. And right here, when I am posting something, can you guys see this? When I'm posting something, cool thing that I want to share. Here we go. You see this little paragraph right there? If I hover over that, I can change this to heading 1, change it to heading 2. I can bullet point, I can number, I can do a little cool quote kind of thing. There's all kind of fun things that you can do there. I can now highlight it. And if I hit Command B, or actually when I highlight it, you see you can bold it, you can italicize, you can do all kinds of fun things inside of a group that you cannot do anywhere else. So groups they're getting expanded capabilities. And in fact, Facebook just announced that they are going to be rolling out the ability to target groups on ads.
Wow.
This is like mind-blowing, right? When you start to think about it. You mean that the 3,000 people that are in my group, I can just target them with like a retargeting ad? Do you know how warm that audience is? Do you have any idea how warm they are? Yeah, I mean, this is like an advertiser and group owner's dream come true. It's pretty amazing. They are also about to roll out the ability to boost posts from inside a group. You cannot boost a post from inside a group right now, but you're about to be able to. So there's some really cool features that are coming down the pike for Facebook groups because of Facebook's new focus on groups. So right now the algorithm basically loves groups. And I think we were talking about this off the air, but when you have a hyper engaged group, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but when you have a hyper engaged group, because Facebook has two goals. Goal number 1, keep people on the platform longer. Why? That's to serve goal number 2. Goal number 2 is to serve them more advertisements, right? The longer you're on the platform, the more ads you can see. So when you understand that and you say, okay, Facebook, like as a group owner, okay, Facebook, I'll play your game. I'll do lots of engagement stuff to keep my people on the platform longer, because when people are engaged, they stay longer on the platform. I'll engage my people inside my group. Facebook says, cool, we're going to send you lots and lots of new group members every day in return, basically. And how do they do that? When you have a hyper engaged group, you're going to show up higher in the search results for your keywords.
That's awesome. So we make Facebook more money. And I think that's a great transition to the next step. Like, how do we make money? Not just
they make money. Exactly. So how we make money is a couple of ways. First off, you're getting tons of free leads from Facebook, right? So you should be capturing that email address as they come in with your screening questions. That's number 1. And you need to have obviously an email follow-up, an email sequence you should be monetizing on the back end. That's number 1. Number 2, it's extremely simple to, let's pretend you're an affiliate marketer or a network marketer, or you have your own product. It's very simple to artfully pepper calls to action to go buy your thing or whatever it is you're promoting in places like your welcome message, your resources page, your units section where you're teaching about stuff. So those are just like static places where you can put your affiliate links or put your product links. And then personally, I love the Facebook Live medium, right? You can very easily do a training, 45-minute training on some one finer point of your niche, right? Where people are maybe struggling, they need to learn a little something. So you're going to go on and do like a technical training, or you're going to do whatever it is, maybe even a mindset training. A lot of times some of the hardest stuff in business happens right between our ears. And so you're going to do some type of training. And at the end of the training, it's very simple to say, listen, guys, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, if this really resonates and you are ready to take it to the next level, or you're ready to invest in yourself in this coaching program, or you're ready to go ahead and purchase funnel scripts because you've watched this tutorial on funnel scripts, you've seen the power, you see the number of hours it can save you, or the amount of money on hiring sales page writers, copywriters, etc., email people. If you're ready to take it to the next level, I want you to go ahead and click that link that I've put in the description, or I'll drop it right now in the comments box. And I am so excited to support you. I'm excited to jump on a call with you, whatever it is, right? Whatever the call to action is. But you've earned the right to the sale, right? I think that a lot of people think monetizing a Facebook group is like link barfing all over people, or just like spamming the group, or whatever it is. That's not it. And it's also not effective. And it will also drive people away. You need to approach things from the mentality that I'm going to earn the right to this sale. I'm going to serve my people. I'm going to actually run polls and ask them what it is they want to learn from me. And then I'm going to go create content around that, or I'm going to invite a subject matter expert in for an interview or for a training, and I'm going to serve. And then when I'm done serving and I've earned the right to the sale, the ask feels really non-icky. The ask feels really authentic. It's a very easy ascension of the relationship because you've earned that right. And nobody begrudges you the 15 seconds you made a pitch or you asked for. They really don't. Not after 45 minutes of pure service.
And then I think you have one mindset, or HELA. Like, what does it mean?
Yeah.
For me, it's a mindset and an abbreviation. Yeah. So what does it mean?
So I love talking to my students about HELA. And what HELA is, it's a mindset, a paradigm, a perspective to approach sales inside of this intimate community, because that's what you're building. You're building an intimate community of people that you really get to know over time. Like, I know my community members. They send me gifts. Like, we have such a good relationship. Like, I love them. So obviously, for people for whom sales are not a comfortable thing, right? They feel a little bit weird about sales. I think that frequently they're like, oh, these people are like my friends and my family, and I couldn't sell to them. It's just weird. I try to snap them out of it and say, listen, you have got to come. This goes along with earning the right to the sale. You really got to earn the right to the sale. But then when you are going to ask for that sale, you need to come from a place of what's called HELA, high intention of service, low attachment to outcome, right? So HI for the high intention, LA for the low attachment. So high intention. So when you just come from a place of, I just want my people to have transformation. I just want my people to have an aha moment. I just want my people to bust through their obstacles and get to the next thing. I want them to have success. I'm not attached to whether they book a call with me. I'm not attached to whether they purchase my thing. I'm not attached to whatever happens. And I use the opportunity to introduce them to that thing as a way to simply ascend the relationship and serve them further. They sat through an entire training on this subject. You think they're interested? They're interested. They're absolutely interested. They're so interested, you're not going to find a more interested person, right? On planet Earth, give these people the opportunity to take it even deeper. Give these people the opportunity to like further their knowledge, right? Don't project your worries about money on them. You don't know what their situation is. So come from an absolute rock solid service mindset, high intention to serve, and complete low attachment to outcome. Who cares? They'll book a call or they won't. They'll click the link or they won't. They'll buy it or they won't. Whatever. Life goes on, right? Don't be attached to that, because that attachment, that is where the icky energy comes from. That's where the desperation comes from. And people can smell desperation a mile away. Get out of the desperate zone, stay up in the high intention to serve zone. And you'll be so surprised at how many sales you make, because it doesn't feel like sales. It's sales as service.
Thank you so much for this fantastic interview, Alex.
You're so welcome.
I learned so much. Like even just a short screen share you did was amazing, because I've never seen that. I never paid attention to this. So it's the small things that can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Even when I will be posting and probably promoting this summit in Facebook groups, and or just trying to offer
Helps you
value
stand
and
out.
get a little bit more attention to my post. So this was amazing value, and thank you so
Very
much
cool.
for this interview.
You're so welcome. You're absolutely so welcome. My pleasure. Thank you.